Welcome to another episode of the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. If you're watching live here on social media, do us a favor, hit the subscribe, share, like, or make a comment. If you make a comment during the live show, we might actually give you a shout out. If you want to see all the episodes of the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.online and subscribe on one of your 13 favorite podcast platforms. A new episode drops every Wednesday, every week. And if you want to learn how to be more engaging, come to the Engaging Conference. Go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/CON, or you can scan this QR code. Get a free ticket or come join me October 28th through the 30th, either here in Seattle or live anywhere in the world. Speaking of in the world, here comes my next guest, hailing from Detroit. This gentleman helps people find the courage to connect. He's a globally recognized speaker on human connection and digital wellness. He's frequently featured in the USA Today. He's got degrees in psychology, technology, and an entrance in behavioral neuroscience. Let's welcome, his last name rhymes with mustache, Mark Ostach.
Woo!
Mark, what's going on?
What's up, John? Thanks for having me out. Thanks for the warm intro.
Always, always, always. What's good in your life right now? I want to hear something great that's in Mark's life. I think you're back home for a little bit,
I'm
right?
back home. I get to spend time with my wife and two children, an 11-year-old and a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and we're just gonna hang out this weekend. We've got 3 dogs and a bunny, so it's like a little mini farm at the house, John.
What is the bunny's name? Can I ask? What's the bunny's name?
Sunny the bunny.
Oh, of course.
Yes, yes, yeah. So
Oh,
we
that
we
is that's fantastic. It's almost like my friend Felix Lynn has a chicken that he's named in his house.
yes.
Uh, anyway, some of my friends, Mark, don't know you, so why don't you just take a moment here, introduce who you are and what you do.
Yeah, well, I'll do that with an exercise called If You Really Knew Me, which is something I like to do during my meetings. It's a way to model vulnerability and get to know each other quickly. So, John and all the listeners today, if you really knew me, you'd know that my name is Mark Ostach. If you really knew me, you know that I do have an actual bunny, 3 dogs, and a kid, 2 kids. If you really knew me, you'd know that my dad has significant mental and physical health challenges, and he's also my greatest fan. If you really knew me, you'd know that I love all sorts of music, including Forrest Frank and The Temptations. But if you really knew me, you'd know that Kenny G is my #1 artist on Spotify. And lastly, if you really knew me, you'd know that I'm honored to be able to travel the world both virtually and literally, helping encourage connection and reminding people that their presence is the best present they can offer one another. So that's a little bit about me.
Outstanding. And wait, now I think I have like the correct walk-on music for you.
That's good. That's good.
Now wait a minute. That right? If I remember, you really do have a Kenny G story.
I do have a Kenny G story. I get to tell it at audiences, small and large, and it's one of those moments that was magical in nature because my dad and I had a chance to see Kenny G live. And when we were walking down to our seats, my dad was recovering from a congestive heart issue, and we didn't think we were going to make the show, let alone, sit in the 10th row. Well, long story short, we were sitting in seats that weren't ours, so my dad didn't have to walk all the way down the aisle. And right before the concert started, the bass player hopped off the stage, walked a crate right in front of my dad, touches him on the leg, and said, "You have the best seat in the house." And then Kenny G comes down the back of the house and performs his opening set standing on the crate within, an arm reach of my father. And it was just such a magical moment. So magical.
Yeah, you got it. You got to hire Mark for that story alone. I got to see this story live. Was it MPI? Where is it? St. Louis? Right? Is that right?
Yeah, it was St. Louis MPI just 2 months ago. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, that Kenny G experience has allowed me to travel the world sharing stories for a living. And everybody says, one of two things happen at the end of the story. People are in tears, or they're asking me if I want to join them on a bus to carpool to the next Kenny G show. So it's either it's either one or the other. Yeah,
Well, yeah, but it's like story continued. Something else is going to happen, right?
exactly, exactly.
Actually, one of my friends actually bought the Kenny G What's the name of the service when you can get famous people to send you messages? You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
Well,
yeah,
I got one from Norm. I actually have a message from Norm from
from Cheers,
Cheers.
get
Yeah,
out.
because right was oh yeah, the theme of the conference was called the new norm.
Oh my
So
gosh.
we actually had Norm actually say something about me and my conference in there, and it's hilarious. And of course now, right, he has is a little gone, so this
Yeah,
message is even more precious. I should post it like on a regular basis for Norm.
that's awesome. Hey, I just threw that Kenny G video in the chat box for any post or maybe we'll leave it as a bonus at the end for folks.
Can I chat this out? Is that something I can
Yeah,
share?
it's just a 1 minute video. And just to set the stage a little bit more, my dad and I grew up in the 1990s when I was a kid,
Yeah.
cleaning the house for my mom with triple the amount of Windex because we were blasting his 1994 Breathless album on the 6 disc CD player. So you can imagine as a young kid of the 80s and 90s, music sometimes kind of marks those decades. So Kenny G was
Totally.
one of those people in the 90s for me. So when we had a chance to see him live, you can imagine how magical it was to witness that front row saxophone experience, especially with my dad having just got out of the hospital, almost losing his life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we end in the life, right? It's not about the dollars. It's not about the money. It's about the moments.
That's right.
And
So
you know,
true.
that's really really key. Okay, so how long have you been speaking?
It's been 6 years full time and focused on connection and wellness. And I'm currently working on a book called You Are a Gift, uh,
Ooh.
Practicing the Power of Presence,
Oh yeah.
which is kind of the next space. I think like even meeting you, John, in St. Louis,
Yeah.
you're one of those natural people that goes out of their way to make people feel seen and heard. And when I bumped into you, you're like, yeah, I'll come to your session, not knowing who you were or if you would actually come. But sure enough, you're sitting towards the front, and afterwards, you said, "Hey, man, that was a great job." And as one speaker to the next, you have that moment where you get off stage and you're like, I think that was good." And
You don't know.
sometimes it takes like a text from your mom or another fellow speaker to be like, "You did a good job." Go get some food.
Well, awesome. Speaking of which, today in about 36 minutes, my newsletter is going to release my video from that conference that was called Cultural Competence 2.0, right? Where I moderated a panel of amazing people like the LGBTQ president, meeting professional president, the top Asian Pacific Islander at Encore. So these
Awesome.
four people who are on the panel really like I got them as a moderator. We said we want to take some glove offs and like talk about what's really happening, and so we actually got that. In fact, even one of the black presenters dropped the N word during the program. Right?
Wow.
So if you are not subscribed to my list, go check it out because you want to hear this. But also, like I had somebody in the elevator, right? Mark, talk about the value and the gift of speaking. A white Caucasian guy, came back afterwards and he says, "I wanted to thank you for that." He goes, "I never knew what the word ally meant until
Hmm.
I watched your presentation,"
That's
and I'm
so
like,
good. Isn't it amazing when
"Yeah,
you can both teach and even sometimes heal from the platform?
oh, yeah."
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So talk to me then too. I think you started like 2018, 19 then, right?
Yeah, it was 2019, and I had went to my boss and I said, "Hey, listen, I've used all my vacation days on, this side hustle that is speaking, and he couldn't pay me more. It was a small company, and I said, I really want to do this." And he goes, "I believe in you. Go do it." So we put together a 4 month succession plan.
Oh,
2 weeks into the 4 months, we lost our biggest client, and we had to,
that's right.
yeah, we lost our biggest client, and I got laid off. I went to my wife and I said, "Honey, I'm going to do this," and she said, "I believe in you, but get your butt out there and go sell some work." So I went out there, sold some gigs. Her dad was in hospice, so it was kind of a season where she was all in with her dad, while I was kind of all in on generating some work. Got a few gigs together, and then, as you know, the pandemic hit. I thought, oh dear God, how am I going to do this? And this thing called Zoom came around since my content was really focused on fostering connection and digital wellness in the workplace.
Mm.
I was one of those rare kind of vocations that actually saw growth in their work. And I did like 200 virtual events in 3 years.
Yeah,
So
the pandemic was a gift for me too. I mean, we talked to people. It was a train wreck for most people, but part of I think being a top speaker is flexibility. Right.
yes.
This is actually the two next week. I wrote a newsletter already. I preset it, and it talked about my six top lessons from my 28 years of being in business. Because this month is actually my 28 year anniversary.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
That's
thank you, Mark.
awesome.
So surviving the pandemic as a speaker, not even surviving, thriving, right, in the pandemic as a speaker is definitely testament to that. So you got to tell me though, right? I heard you had something happen during your largest virtual event. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Oh, yes. So one of the things, like yourself, John, is I always like to create engaging experiences virtually, and decided to test out a experience that I'd done live twice, but I hadn't done virtually. And I partnered with a piano player, piano player out of Detroit, and we joined together. And the way that it works is, I tell a story, and then he shares a song, and the whole idea is to create kind of an entertainment value virtually. So as we're doing this, it's a 2,500 person event for an anchor client here in Detroit, big, huge company. It was celebrating Mental Health Awareness Day for their entire organization.
Yeah.
And as I am being introduced, like by the MC to go on stage, the tech check went well, everything was going good. My internet went out while I'm being introduced. Yes. So now I have a generator, I've got a nice studio, I've got a backup plan. All of my contingencies failed. I did not know what to do. So I immediately had this like flashback moment to like, I will go across the street to my neighbor's house and see if I can just use his internet. So I get on my son's bike because mine was like in the back of the garage. I
Ah,
ride over there with my laptop while the event planner's texting me. I get to his house, nobody's home.
oh,
Now I'm thinking like I text my piano player to say, start playing like Journey or like some sort of Detroit-based theme. So
yeah.
he's playing, the event planner's texting me, and then I realized that I'd actually been at my neighbor's house about 3 months prior and had a meeting with him. So his Wi-Fi credentials were saved to uh, my internet. So then I proceeded to sit on his front porch and do the event live and praying that he didn't come home to wonder who is this stranger sitting on my porch. And I had just enough Wi-Fi to like make sure my video wasn't completely crashing. And other than the event planner needing, delaying my start time about 5 minutes,
Right.
when I closed my laptop, I took the biggest sigh of relief. So yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that.
That is, this is one of the tips that I gave. There's six things that I've learned in 28 years is plan B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, right? It's like you got to have all of them and you got to sometimes invent some of them as you go along with that. And I think that's genius. Um, here's one of the examples that we had. So I was actually producing a Microsoft conference, right?
Yep.
And then a VP, she was supposed to come up in like 20 minutes. So we're watching her. She's in the participants list. And then all of a sudden she drops out. And I notice. And I'm like, hey, where'd she go? And so we had somebody assigned as a speaker handler. And she goes, I'm on it. So she goes around. 10 minutes later, she hits the chat. She goes, you're never going to believe this. She goes, right? Not. Not only did her internet get cut, her internet and her power to the entire neighborhood got cut. You can't
Dude.
even ride the bicycle. And by the way, I would love for you to add this part, Mark, if it fits you. Which
Yeah.
is like, I feel like you're riding the bicycle like an ET.
Oh, yes.
You got
Trust
a
me.
you got a laptop and a basket, right? You're back.
Trust me. Well, it's so funny you say that because when I finally went home, I um I checked the Ring doorbell camera and guess what it was? The
What?
AT&T internet guy came to repair a line, proactively repair a line, and he had to shut off the internet just to my house. So he
Oh,
his
this is even
time
better. This is a
his
great.
time his timing was exactly at the moment I'm being introduced at my largest virtual event. Oh my gosh.
Oh, so for this woman, right? The woman said, I after I talked her off the ledge, right? We said, "Do you have your cell phone?" She goes, "Yeah." Is it charged? Yes. How's your signal? Barely. I got one bar. She goes, let's move you. So how far do you have to drive? She goes, I got to drive about 18 minutes to get to a place where it is. And I'm like, so you drive. Her teammate is bringing up the slide deck because it's on a shared server. And then she came back on and she gave the whole keynote in her car while it was running.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. That is so good. The things we do. By the way, John, I don't know if you're a mind reader, but I just sent you a picture of me riding ET's bike.
No
Uh,
way. Hold on a second. I'm going to put this on.
you
Hold
got to
on.
share this on the screen. Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Ready? No way. Are you kidding me?
that is me riding to go get on the internet to my largest virtual meeting. If that's what it felt like. I felt
Take this picture and put the laptop on ET's head, right? And then
exactly,
use this in your
exactly.
program. I
Oh
think it's
my
hilarious.
gosh, that's too funny, man.
When were you at Universal? Oh, it's 2021. Okay, I see it. You were in
Yeah,
Universal.
yeah.
So yeah, so then you know, it's funny actually. I got Talkadot right now, and I actually see that my stats are like 72% virtual, right? 28% in person. I'm curious, where are you at now? Right? Is it back on the road?
Yeah, I'm
I'm back
kind of
on the road too.
flip-flop. I'm
Yeah.
flip-flopped. In 2020 through 2023, I was like 70% virtual, 30% in person. Now it's flipped. Yeah,
It's
so
flipped. Yeah, you're back to
yeah,
in person, right?
I'm back to in person. I still love the virtual meetings. I think part of it's because you get so much experience and you know that it is there's certain things you do to keep people engaged. One of the things that I do, because I always join early for the tech check, and I don't, and I'm sure this is in your books and resources, but there's always that awkward like 2 to 5 minutes when people are joining.
Yeah.
And I just put in the chat box, hey, introduce yourself. Where are you listening to today's message from? And what did you have for breakfast or lunch?
Yeah.
And it just gets the
Yes.
dialogue going. It gives people permission before the event started. And then I can provide color commentary on like, wow, this is a really healthy organization. Look at all these oatmeal and eggs and, green teas.
Chia. Yeah, chia
E- e-
seeds.
Exactly, exactly. So it's just, it's just those little things that you start to learn. And what you're doing too, like to the audience, is giving them permission before you've even started. That the chat box, I always tell people, the chat box and your emojis allow me to know that you're alive and well during this message,
Oh, well, I love that those two questions too. People ask me all the time, like, "What's the best opener?" And I actually go right back to those two. And here's the reasons why on my side too, Mark. Right, one of the things that I tell people that we're like building inside of this box that you can't see is psychological safety. Right.
Yes.
And so one of the signals that you want to send is that I want you to chat. I don't want you to not chat, right? Because some people like, oh, chat, it's a disturbing, it's distracting me. No, I'm like, no, I would use it as much as you want, right? It says so that it helps me say, at least you're chatting here and not on your phone. And so I do ask those questions too. There's two easy ones. Number one is where are you from, or two, where are you? What did you have for breakfast? And the reason
Yeah.
why is they're super easy to answer.
Everyone has breakfast and everyone's from somewhere.
Yeah, and even if they didn't have breakfast, they say nothing, and that's actually a tell.
Exactly.
That's a tell,
Exactly.
right?
It is
People are
a
like,
tell.
people to go
Yes.
like, oh, breakfast most important, right? There's like team breakfast and team not
They're
breakfast.
fasting,
Oh yeah,
intermittent
oh
fasting,
that's so it does do that, and from that, that's why I sequence a lot of my programs with that. You start with these easier questions that allows you to ask a harder question later.
Yeah. Can I give you an example of a hard question I ask people?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I mentioned, I kind of teased it in the introduction, but one of the things around what I call like helping better connect with leaders in a virtual environment is to be vulnerable. And that
Yeah.
exercise, if you really knew me, is a fantastic way to do that because it allows you to share statements about yourself that are mild, medium, or spicy. And the idea is that sometimes you might hear from a big leader who is trying to address a global audience, and there's so much seriousness in the content they have to share that they're losing out on an opportunity to relationally connect with these people that work for the organization. So it's like, can you just at least tease in a little bit of who you are beyond the job title and the LinkedIn profile to
Yeah.
create a common ground that often connects us better than the job title itself? So that's been a prompt, and I'd welcome you to share, John. Like, if we really knew you, what is it that we would know about you?
If you really knew me, you would know that not only have I walked across 40 feet of fire coals, I actually built the fire once.
Wow. Wow, that's a good one. Give me two more. Give me two more. What do we
Uh,
got?
if if you really knew me, you knew that I was a sponsored amateur skateboarder who was destined to go pro until a Idaho rugby player fell on my knee and broke my ACLs.
Wow, that's a good one. And one more just to keep it at an even three.
We got to get the number of threes. If you really knew
Uh,
me, you'd know me that I have two patents for my work at Microsoft, and I was there for 10 years, where I shipped 10 products, and decided to leave it to start this company.
I
28 years.
love it. I love it. So good. And then you get some snaps and claps, and before you know it, people are blowing up the chat box, and it's fun. It's you can have a lot of fun and engagement in virtual environments.
Okay, so where did this come from, Mark? Right, you said you were at some other job, you started speaking. So I'm just curious, like, what was the moment that you said, or like you started speaking and you knew that this is your topic?
So I had studied psychology and neuroscience in college. I graduated with $100,000 of student loan debt, and my dad said, "What are you going to do now?" And I said, "Dad, I'm going to massage therapy school." And he just about fell over in his chair, but I was really interested in workplace wellness, and I
Hmm.
had a vision to create kind of like concierge services into high corporate, banking environments. The truth is I dropped out of massage school because my best friend was starting a technology company,
Oh,
and I went to work for him as the third hire, the only non-engineer, and we went from 3 people to 50 people in 5 years through some
woo,
foundation money in Detroit.
woo.
So I learned about technology and operations, but my love for psychology and my experience in technology clashed, and I became hyper focused on the psychology of technology. And from there, I kind of bootstrapped a startup that allowed you to manage your time and mood on the internet. It did not take off. I did not get rich and famous, but my wife convinced me that I should probably just advocate for this passion around digital wellness, and it's better than being in my basement trying to build software. And I took her, advice, and from there, I just began, like John, you just start kind of speaking anywhere for anyone just
Yeah,
to get your name out there. And then I
yeah.
began to write and build a newsletter, and before you know it, 2020 launched a book, and then the virtual world just kind of took off from there. So. It's the thing that comes the most natural too. If you think about like everyone's got a gifting or a zone of genius,
Yeah.
you can stay in that lane. Like if you said, Mark, I need you to crunch numbers on and macros and Excel documents all day, I'd say I'm not the right person.
All
If you
right.
need me to like ad lib and speak or MC or just like riff with somebody on a panel, I'm like, that's all me all day long.
Genius, genius. Well, that's cool too. One of my other sayings, again, this is a precursor. I don't know how this came out for my 28 years, right? Entrepreneurship is the path to authenticity,
That's good.
which says, because, in entrepreneurship, like, if you're not yourself, you're probably going to fail.
Yes,
And
that's
if
good.
And the other part is, if you did succeed, you're probably unhappy because you got a bunch of money, but you're not doing what you really want. So in the end, too, in entrepreneurship, you're the person who can choose, what it is. Well, you're, I think, a forward-looking person, right?
Sure, sure.
You are on the neuroscience. You're always, I think, studying what's new. So what do you think is on the horizon for virtual and hybrid meetings from your seat?
Yeah, I'll reference some data from Workday, which is a large HR kind of financial background tool, and they show that organizations that gather together on a quarterly basis have higher impact and team morale. So put another way, like if your team is running out of gas, you should be meeting quarterly. We all know that the cost to meet quarterly can be costly. So I believe that like the HR partners and the event partners are going to merge into what's the future of culture. And just like IT was a department back in like the 80s and 90s, it was just a department, and now every organization claims to be an IT based organization.
Yeah.
I think that's how HR and events are going to function. So when you meet somebody and you say, "Hey, what's it like to work at this organization?" The employee's response is probably going to be based on the events they've attended,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Mm.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, one of my top friends had a quote. He used to be the chief solution officer at Yahoo, and he said that company conferences are like the movies of corporate America. And what he meant by that, like when you watch the right movie or the right movie comes out and it like shifts the
Yes.
course, right? And so he felt like the right corporate conference does that, where it inspires people. I mean, my other part too, Mark, is that I'm on this part where one of my clients wanted to have an all hands meeting. They just got a new leader 6 months ago, but they asked headquarters, and of course, a lot of times the recent answer is no, because we don't have a budget to bring everybody in again. So this is where virtual really can happen. If you hold a high end virtual, you can keep. That's what there was. The number one goals was to keep the momentum going from all the strategic work that they did, and so I helped them produce a 4 hour all hands meeting, and those are the things where we do that. I also do another one in Bothell, which is a hybrid. It's 100 people in person and 600 people across Western America.
Wow.
I'm excited this year we got to do something called Fidgetal. Do you know what the word Fidgetal means?
I don't.
My friend Jimbo Clark termed it. It's Fidgetal and digital at the same time. So we were actually, I made the recommendation and the meeting planner took it. We actually mailed a package to every single employee. And in this case, the theme was glow. So there was like glow sticks and glow glasses, and it
Yep,
came in
yep.
a iridescent envelope. And this really smart part too, I recommended that the CEO, because he's new, he's like 2 years in, write a message to everybody. And so they wrote it, printed it, and stuck it in every envelope. And I came back and saw him on event day, and he goes, "John, that was an amazing. Like I have people coming up to me talking all over, saying what a nice touch that was."
That's so good, John. Yeah, I think that it is those touch points, and we talk about it with consumer products,
Yeah,
but we don't think of those touch points with our employees, right? And it goes a long way, to get a little, you know, um, box in the mail that has glow sticks before you jump on a 4 hour meeting about, how we glow for the future, whatever the theme was. Like those touch points matter, right? Because there's
yeah,
nothing worse than being on an all day conference or a town hall with content overload, no room for connection. I actually do these things called connection cafes.
yes,
And I usually do them at like a quarterly basis. And I'm sure you've done something like this or seen it or been a part of it. But
yes,
I'm really just facilitating social well being. And
yeah,
I'm encouraging people through easy prompts to
yeah.
get to know each other, putting them in random Zoom rooms, and then debriefing as a group in the main room. And I try to keep things either lighthearted or serious. And that range really rebuilds a sense of social connection with the organizations. And as you know, or maybe you don't, social well-being is the new mental health.
Mm,
So,
mm.
the World Health Organization and the U.S. Surgeon General have basically said our social well-being is as important as food and water and the sunshine. So, post-pandemic, we need to look at how we do that. The caveat is, and you know this, you
Yeah.
can still get a lot of goosebumps and engagements virtually. But if you don't know how to run a good virtual meeting as a manager, man, it just like
It's more painful.
it's
It's like
yes, it's like, oh my gosh,
spreadsheets
it's
to
a
the
lost cause.
non-spreadsheet
Or
version.
I always tell people too, like in this on again, off again workplace, like don't have me commute just to compute. So if I'm gonna be there,
Oh, I
don't
like it.
don't put me in like, hey, I'm in the office on Tuesdays, but now I'm on Teams calls with everyone else who's in the office on Tuesdays.
You
Like
gotta say it. Say it again. Don't have me.
don't have me commute just to compute,
Got it.
you know?
Yeah. You got to have that touch factor, and you got to make it worth it, right? In this return to office piece, like again, but it's all those sidebar conversations that you're looking for that really add a lot of value. All right. Speaking of value, this is the part of the interview known as the speed round. While we've been interviewing you, I've been writing questions related to your interview, and if you're okay with that, I'm going to ask them to you and see if you can answer them as fast as possible.
Okay,
And I'll play some fun noise like this
let's
one.
do it. Let's do it.
Let's see. Oh, there we go. I was like,
I love
my
it.
Mario was sleeping. Okay.
Okay.
Favorite Kenny G song?
Breathless.
Oh, A dad quote or saying or belief he said.
My dad?
Yeah.
You got me stumped already.
Oh my goodness. We'll work on that one. It'll come to
Okay.
you later. Best boss you've ever had.
Uh, Tim Smith.
Aw. Best virtual keynoter that is not you.
John Chan.
Oh, here's my applause. A song that reminds you of your dad and why?
Billy Ocean. Anything from Billy Ocean because we used to drive around going grocery shopping listening to Billy Ocean.
And what car was it? Because you're a Detroit person, I've got to
Oh
know.
yeah, it was a station wagon, man.
Like a big shaggin' wagon, like
Oh,
a
like a big old shaggin' wagon. We would sit in the back seat facing
yeah,
the other way with
backwards.
seat the backwards. Yeah,
We had one of those too, and it never had the right alignment. But my mom drove it forever, so it's because I'm one of five kids. So
that's so good.
here you go. What's for that one?
Are you putting on Caribbean Queen for Billy Ocean? Okay.
I would in other meetings, right? Only
Okay,
because we're on
okay,
social
that's right,
media.
that's right.
Okay. A best workplace wellness tip.
Walk. If you're able to walk, get outside the office and walk, go back to your car, clean out your trunk, feel productive, go back into the workplace, or just step outside and stretch.
Here, you'll like this. This is it.
Yeah.
And if you really knew me, for me, what's a really new like a one for you? Like, if you had to say if you really knew John Chen, you would fill in the blank.
If I really knew John Chen, I would say that you have a heart of gold and you also have the capacity for a whole heck of a lot of detail.
Well, thank you for that. The last one is if people you could get people to magically remember one thing from this interview, Mark, what would it be?
I think that they have the ability to set the energy in the rooms they walk into, virtually or in person, at home or
Genius.
in the office.
Genius. And we have just enough time, right? I think I can play the last minute of your video. Is that okay that we play this?
Yeah, play it.
All right, here we go. This
And
is
again,
your
this is Kenny G, the bass player, hops off the stage, sets the crate next to my dad. We hear Kenny G saxophone, but he's not on the stage, so we're wondering where he's going to come in from, and this is where the video starts.
There we go, Mark.
There
What
we
a
go.
moment, right? The look on your dad's face still is one of the things I do remember from your talking.
It's so good. Hey, John, just to stamp this moment, I would
Yes.
love to collaborate with Kenny G on a virtual event one day. So if you know him or know somebody that does, Scout's honor, it'll be a good time. Okay.
Mark, I got to tell you, actually, what you should do is go to that app, right, and request Kenny. You can get this, and you could say, right, I just want to give a shout out to Mark and his dad, and like have him play a riff. I can
Yeah.
tell you because I actually played that in somebody else's meeting.
Wow,
You
that's
can do
cool.
that, and
I'll do that. I'll do that. John, this has been such a pleasure today, man. I really appreciate you so many ways.
genius. Thank you, Mark, and let me know when you're in Seattle. I'll let you know when we're in Detroit, and we'll do this thing. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
Here we go. This is Mark's current walk-off music for today. All right, we've been visiting with Mark Ostach, rhymes with mustache, and he says, social wellness, social workplace, find a way to be better, and if you can only do one thing, that's walk, right? Speaking of walk, Make sure and subscribe, share, like, and comment if you're here on social media. Check out all the podcasts at engagingvirtualmeetings.online. Subscribe. We're almost down to a big high mark. We need some people to download some episodes. You want to come see this live for real? And Mark, maybe you could be here on October. You'd be one of our amazing speakers. I still have a few slots left. The Engaging Conference this year, October 28th through 30th, here in Seattle and online. And last but not least, if you want to be like Mark, go to engagingvirtualmeetings.com/meet and select interview, and you too could be the next guest here on the Engaging Virtual Meetings podcast. We will see you next time.
Don't we start people and keep old people? Show your God heart.